All right, welcome to your personalized deep dive. You want to learn English faster? Well, get this. Our source material is a podcast script about learning English.
Ooh, that's meta.
Right, it's like we're unlocking the secrets from a source that's actually using the techniques. Get ready for some surprising tips. This goes way beyond the usual advice.
Yeah, it's like a masterclass, but hidden right in plain sight.
Exactly. So let's just jump right in. One of the first things that kind of jumped out at me from this script was this idea of approaching learning English like a marathon, not a sprint.
Oh, yeah.
What do you think? Is that mindset like really that crucial?
I think it's absolutely fundamental.
Yeah.
The script uses that analogy, the marathon one, to really highlight that language acquisition. It's a process, not like a destination. It takes time and consistency. Much like training for a marathon, you wouldn't expect to run 26 miles in your first try.
No, definitely not. But I can already hear our listener thinking, okay, marathon, got it. But where do I even find the time
Right.
for a daily workout with my already packed schedule?
That's where the beauty of this approach comes in. The script really emphasizes that even just like 10 to 15 minutes a day can make a huge difference.
Okay.
Think about it. You can squeeze in like a quick vocabulary review while you're waiting for your coffee.
Oh, yeah.
Listen to an English podcast during your commute, or even read a news article before bed. Little things like that.
Okay, those are some great realistic suggestions because I think a lot of people get intimidated by the thought of having to do these like massive study sessions.
Right. Every day.
Yeah, but this makes it feel so much more achievable. Okay, now here's where things get really interesting. The script talks about learning to think in English.
Yeah.
Now, to be honest, that sounds kind of daunting, doesn't it?
It might seem that way initially, but it's honestly one of the most powerful techniques you can master. And the script points out that when you're constantly translating, in your head,
Oh, yeah.
it creates this mental lag that just really slows you down.
I can see that. Like your brain is playing catch up all the time.
Exactly. But when you start thinking directly in English, you actually bypass that translation step. And so your fluency, it naturally starts to improve. The script even gives some concrete techniques to help with this. For example, just try naming everyday objects around you, but in English.
Ooh, I like that. I'm looking around my studio right now. Microphone, water bottle, headphones. It feels a bit silly, but
Huh.
I can see how it would train your brain to make that connection automatically.
And that's the key, right? Another technique the script mentions is narrating your actions in English. So, I'm walking to the kitchen.
Oh, yeah?
I'm opening the fridge. I'm pouring myself a glass of water. It might feel strange at first, but trust me, it really does work.
Okay, I'm definitely trying that one later. Okay, so this next tip surprised me a bit. The script argues that vocabulary is actually more important than grammar,
Oh, interesting.
at least initially. Why do you think that kind of goes against what so many language learners believe?
I think it's because so often we're taught to focus on grammar rules and perfect sentence structure from the get-go. But the reality is that communication is about conveying meaning. And if you remember, like the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule,
Yeah.
well, it applies here too. In language learning, focusing on the most frequent words first, it allows you to understand and be understood in a wide range of situations, even with imperfect grammar.
That makes so much sense. The script actually uses a great analogy for this. It says, if you're starving and you only know the word sandwich,
Okay.
you can still just point at it and be like, sandwich.
And probably get what you need.
Exactly. Basic communication, even with limited vocabulary, trumps perfect grammar, especially in the early stages.
So what are some practical tips from the script on how to build that vocabulary quickly?
Well, flashcards are classic for a reason. And there are tons of apps out there like Duolingo or Anki that make the process more engaging. Personally, I love the idea of labeling objects around your house with their English names.
Oh, it's like turning your entire home into a giant vocabulary builder.
Oh, that's brilliant. And speaking of immersive learning, the script also talks about the power of embracing English media. This is where things get really fun, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Hmm.
The beauty of this approach is that there's something for everyone. Whether you're into movies, TV shows, YouTube videos, podcasts, music, even video games,
Oh, wow.
you can learn while you're actually doing something that you enjoy.
Oh, I can already see our listener scrolling through Netflix, trying to decide what show to start with.
Yeah.
Maybe something light and relatable like Friends or The Office, or perhaps a documentary on a topic they're, passionate about.
The possibilities really are endless. The reason this works so well is that it exposes you to natural language, the way native speakers actually talk.
Yeah.
You pick up on the rhythm, the pronunciation, the idioms, all those nuances that textbooks often miss.
The script suggests a clever progression. Start with subtitles in your native language, then switch to English subtitles, and eventually just ditch the subtitles altogether.
It's like
Yeah.
the step-by-step plan to fluency.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of those small wins. Even just recognizing a few words you've learned while watching a show, it can be a huge confidence booster.
For sure. Speaking of confidence, let's address, the elephant in the room. Speaking.
Yeah.
For many learners, this is like the scariest part.
Yeah.
What does the script say about, overcoming that fear?
Well, it does acknowledge that speaking can be intimidating, but it also really emphasizes that it's absolutely essential for fluency and that mistakes are not only inevitable, but actually helpful.
Okay, mistakes are helpful. I mean, I get that they're part of the process, but some mistakes feel more frustrating than helpful. How can our listener reframe those moments, like when they stumble over their words or say the wrong thing?
Think of mistakes as feedback. They're actually highlighting areas where you need more practice or clarification. So instead of getting discouraged, embrace those moments as opportunities to learn and to grow. Remember, every native speaker was once a beginner too. That's a really great way to look at it. Now, the script also suggests finding a language exchange partner or joining a class or even, wait for it, talking to yourself.
Yes, you read that right. Talking to yourself in English can be incredibly beneficial.
Interesting point. But isn't that, a bit, I don't know, weird talking to myself?
It might feel strange at first, but think about it. It's this judgment-free zone where you can practice pronunciation, try out new phrases, and just get comfortable with the sound of your own voice in English.
Okay, I'm starting to see the appeal. Imagine me standing in front of the mirror.
Hello, me. How
Yeah.
are you today? Feeling good, ready to rock this English learning thing.
There you go.
Maybe I'll even start doing my entire pre-show routine in English.
There you go. And you can even use self-talk to rehearse specific situations like ordering food at a restaurant or asking for directions. You'll be amazed at how much more confident you'll feel when you encounter those situations in real life. Oh, I love that. It's like giving yourself a private English lesson anytime, anywhere. I love that. It's like giving yourself a private English lesson anytime, anywhere. Okay, moving on, the script also highlights the importance of writing for solidifying your English skills. And this is pretty meta considering we're analyzing a podcast script right now.
It is, isn't it? The act of writing forces you to slow down, think carefully about your word choices, and really pay attention to grammar and sentence structure. It's a fantastic way to internalize the language.
It's true. When you're speaking, it's so easy to fall back on familiar phrases and habits.
Right.
But when you're writing, you have to be more deliberate and precise.
Yeah.
What specific writing activities does the script recommend?
Well, journaling is a great option. It allows you to express your thoughts and feelings freely without the pressure of an audience. And here's a fun one. The script suggests texting yourself in English.
Texting myself. Okay, I'll admit I'm intrigued. Is that really a thing?
It is. And it's surprisingly effective. It's a low-pressure way to practice using the language in a casual, everyday context. Plus, there's a psychological element at play. When you see yourself using English in your own text messages, it reinforces your identity as an English speaker.
That's fascinating. It's like tricking your brain into believing you're already fluent. I like it. Now, there's another tip in this script that I think will resonate with anyone who's ever felt like their English sounds a bit robotic.
You're referring to the emphasis on learning phrases, not just isolated words. It's a subtle shift, but it has a huge impact on how natural and fluent you sound.
Yes, it's like the difference between reading a list of ingredients and savoring a delicious, well-prepared dish.
Right.
One is just a collection of parts, while the other is a complete and satisfying experience.
Exactly. Learning phrases helps you internalize the natural rhythm and flow of the language. Instead of piecing together individual words, you're able to express yourself more smoothly and confidently.
And I imagine that increased fluency also, boosts your confidence in social situations.
Absolutely. When you can effortlessly string together phrases and express yourself clearly, you just feel more comfortable and at ease in conversations. It's like you've unlocked a secret code to navigate the world of English speakers with ease.
It's like suddenly you're not just speaking English, you're actually communicating and connecting with people. That's what it's all about, right?
Precisely. And that brings us back to a crucial point that the script emphasizes throughout: the importance of patience and celebrating your wins, no matter how small they may seem.
Yes. It's so easy to get caught up in the "I'm not there yet" mentality, but it's crucial to acknowledge how far you've come. What might a small win look like for our listener?
It could be anything from understanding a song lyric without having to look up the words to having a short conversation with a native speaker without feeling completely lost.
Yeah.
It could even be as simple as using a new phrase correctly in a text message.
Those are all great examples, and it's so important to celebrate those wins no matter how small they seem. It keeps you motivated and reinforces the idea that progress is happening even if it's not always visible.
I couldn't agree more. Learning a language is a journey, and every step forward, no matter how small, is a victory worth celebrating. Remember that feeling of accomplishment when you reach a milestone on a long hike?
Oh, yeah.
You pause, you take in the view, and you appreciate how far you've come. It's the same with language learning.
I love that analogy. It's a reminder that we're not just trying to reach a destination, we're also enjoying the journey itself.
Exactly. And that enjoyment is crucial for staying motivated in the long run.
So, to recap some of the key takeaways we've gleaned from this fascinating podcast script, think in English whenever possible. Embrace those little wins. Talk to yourself, don't worry, we won't judge. And remember that fluency comes from embracing the journey, not just racing to the finish line.
Beautifully summarized. This deep dive has provided our listener with a roadmap, a toolkit of techniques and strategies to accelerate their English learning. But as with any journey, the true adventure begins when you take that first step.
Exactly. And speaking of first steps, there's a thought-provoking question the script poses that I think is worth pondering. It asks, what's your why for learning English?
That's such a powerful question because it gets to the heart of motivation. When you have a clear purpose, a driving force behind your learning, it becomes easier to stay committed, even when the going gets tough.
It's like having a compass that guides you through the, ups and downs of the learning process.
Precisely.
Hmm.
So, to our listener, I would say this. Take some time to reflect on your why. Why is learning English important to you? What doors will it open? What dreams will it help you achieve? Once you have that clarity, the journey becomes much more meaningful and rewarding.
That's such a great point. It's not just about memorizing vocabulary or mastering grammar rules. It's about connecting with people, experiencing new cultures, and expanding your horizons. Knowing your why gives you that extra fuel to keep going.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive. It's
Hmm.
been a fascinating exploration of not just how to learn English, but also the deeper reasons why we embark on this incredible journey.
It's funny because we started this deep dive by analyzing a podcast script about learning English.
And now we're encouraging our listener to potentially create their own English podcast one day.
Right. Full circle moment. It really shows that with the right approach and a little dedication, anything is possible.
Absolutely. This deep dive has not only been about, practical tips for learning English, but also about embracing the transformative power of language itself.
I think that's a beautiful way to put it. We've given our listener a glimpse into a world of possibilities that opens up when you learn a new language.
And most importantly, we've equipped them with the tools and the mindset to confidently navigate that world.
So to our listener, we say this: keep practicing, keep exploring, and never lose sight of your why. And remember, you're not alone on this journey. There's a whole community of English learners out there ready to support and encourage you every step of the way.
And who knows? Maybe one day we'll be listening to your podcast, inspired by your journey and your unique perspective.
Wouldn't that be amazing? That's what makes this all so exciting, the potential for connection, growth, and discovery that comes with learning a new language.
Well said. And on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive. Happy learning, everyone.